Now, when I first started fishing, when I was younger, we used to always use this type of float. This float is the type where you put the line through the slice that was cut in it and use this plastic pin to secure the line in place. So it was adjustable. Some of them were weighted, and this is just what we used. But the problem with this was sometimes these things would just go flying off if you didn't put them on right, or the line moved, and you would see a lot of these floating up and down intercoastal waterways. And that's where I actually found this. That's why it looks so faded. Then came in the Cajun Thunder. Now this, it looks like a Cajun Thunder, but it's not. But it's basically the same principle. It has the plastic beads above the float and some brass balls underneath it to make a noise every time you pull the line to attract the fish. This one actually happens to be called a B-52 bomber. It's a plastic float, all plastic hollow, and it has balls on the inside of it, so it makes a little more noise. So I actually prefer this over a Cajun Thunder in most cases, except if I think I'm going to lose it somewhere, kind of a lot of hang-ups, then I will just use the Cajun Thunder. But this is one of my favorites right here, the B-52. Next, I decided to get, I saw some people fishing and they had this type. This is actually a Paradise Popper. There's different brands, and it's the same basic concept as the Cajun Thunder. It has the brass balls underneath and the plastic balls up above, and it makes the same noise. Well, this one is not making too good of a noise, but same basic thing. And it also has a wire cable as opposed to a thicker cable, so this is more flexible and retains its shape and doesn't get bent and crooked like sometimes the Cajun Thunder does. But this has a concave area on the top where when you're pulling it through the water and jerking it like you're supposed to every couple seconds, it displaces more water and makes more noise. Then I talked to some old snook fishermen, and they said, Greg, you don't always want to make all that noise with a snook. They're spooky sometimes. So they recommended this Cajun Thunder, which is the cigar type of Cajun Thunder, and it makes hardly any noise as far as displacing water, but it still has the brass balls and the plastic on top, and it makes a little bit of noise, but not as much. So it's got a lower sound profile in the water and displaces less water. So sometimes this might be more effective on snook if they're a little spooky. But all those types of floats or corks or poppers or whatever you want to call them have one drawback. You have to affix line to the bottom of them and then tie a hook, and that's the length of the depth that you're going to be fishing at, unless you're constantly retying and shortening or putting longer pieces on. And it takes up time, it wastes time fishing. So I decided I need to figure out something. So I went in the store and I'm looking around, and I just came across this. And this is actually similar to the concept of a Cajun Thunder, but it has a hole all the way through it to the bottom, and the line goes down the center. And what stops it from going up and down is they have these little bobber stops that they sell, and they actually come with these, and they're a little piece of plastic with two little tag ends of thread on them or line, and you have to tie them a certain way on the line, and it stops the bobber from going up and down. Problem with those is sometimes you can't get them untied, and two, they fall off. So then it's pointless of even having a float like this, because if you have a weighted split shot and a hook underneath this, it's going to go to the bottom, and this float's just going to keep on floating up the top of the line to the surface, and you're not going to get the height that you want to fish at. So I decided, okay, I don't have a lot of time, I want to figure something out. Greg, how can you kind of solve this dilemma where you can fish whatever height you want with a float and not have to retie the line every time? So I have so much fishing stuff, it's ridiculous. So I'm looking through my tackle bags and boxes and tackle boxes and paper boxes, and here you go. I found these DOA glass rattles that I had bought to put inside DOA shrimp or soft baits, and I said, well, I wonder what I can use those for. So I had these already that I had bought, but I used them in Crystal River, and yep, they work as a float, but you know, it had no noise to it. It makes a little bit of commotion in the water when you pull it, but no, you know, no rattling noise. But it adjusts like the old-fashioned plastic bobbers that you use bass fishing or panfish fishing, and it goes up and down wherever you put it on the line. So I put 2 holes in this, one there, and pushed those glass rattles inside there. And now it has a rattling noise. So it looks a little beat up now. I'm going to probably shave some pieces of cork, kind of like sawdust consistency, mix it with some wood glue, make a paste and fill those holes and repaint this cork. But that was my solution. It might not be the best, it might not be the most ingenious of all, but I figured this might solve my problem and speed up my time. I'm changing my depth to where I want it to be exactly at the time I want it to be with this silly little invention. So, thank you, Salt Strong, for watching, and pa-pow!